Hey everybody, Jonathan Broadbent here, your host of UnWoke Academy. It might surprise you to learn that I actually eat fast food. I am a firm believer in the old adage, there is no such thing as unhealthy food, there's an unhealthy diet. So what that means for me is I don't eat fast food often, but sometimes I indulge a little bit because I think that I'm overall pretty healthy. And I think we're going to apply that today to a discussion of the Private Membership Association, where it evolved from, where I see it headed, and what this all means to you. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. If you have not already contacted Matt and Drew over at Inspire Advisors, those are non-woke financial planners. We're not affiliated. We just simply have made an arrangement. If you do like them, and that's just an if you do end up liking and working with them, they share back some of the revenue that they make off of that relationship with you as your new financial planners to help keep episodes like this one going. But call Matt and Drew because the starting point is those guys have offered to do an impact report for you. You want one of those, trust me, for free, no strings attached. They just simply want to get people more aware of the wokadoodle, my term, that is inherent in many people's portfolios. So they're a good starting point. Also, if you are one of those people that listens, you like the content, but you have financial advisors around you who you know, like, and trust, hopefully they're not woke and they're not steering you into the garbage, take the stuff that we're doing and give it to them. By all means, the things that I do, the things that we do at UnWoke.Academy are free. We simply want to move the needle and get the money out of the wokadoodle far left companies, causes, and countries. Remember our old adage, diss the globalist left. That stands for know where you donate, invest, and spend your money. If you're not paying attention to it, somebody else is. I guarantee you, wherever you're depositing, buying, spending, or investing your money, there are very good chances, probably about 100%, that somebody out there has an interest in using your money differently than you might want. So of course, they want maximum access to your money and you and data mining and you name it, speaking kind of specifically of globalist banks and Wall Street mega finance. They would like as much access to you and your money and your information, your buying habits, history, preferences, etc., as with as much cost and revenue to them as humanly possible. And you want the maximum amount of service and privacy at the lowest cost. So you're immediately kind of at odds, and that's where a good financial planner or advisor comes in. So whichever path you're taking here, and I've just mentioned too, working with Matt and Drew, they're kind of a do-it-for-me option. Those are guys, and they're not alone. There are other good financial advisors out there who are not woke. The further removed from Wall Street they are, the better. Do not, I implore you, do not think of mega globalist banks, big credit card processing types of companies, or Wall Street, or those kinds of mega firms as your friend. They do have resources that you probably want access to, but they're not your friend. And all those commercials that make it appear that if you go and give them all of your money and trust them implicitly, that you'll end up on a beach somewhere or cruising on your own new luxury yacht. That's not truth. That's not reality. The reality is you or somebody needs to be your advocate. You need to be advocating for yourself. You know me, I like to draw analogies between sort of different life experiences in order to illustrate my points. In the world of health and healthcare and nutrition, it was, for the longest time, we sort of assumed that whatever was being fed us was the healthiest, best option. We've learned really dramatically since the COVID debacle that big pharma, big hospital networks, oftentimes the edicts that come through our doctors isn't necessarily the best thing for us. And when it comes to sort of packaged foods, even the foods that sort of present themselves with a really cool looking label are not necessarily all that healthy for us. So as people explore different healthier happier, more beneficial lifestyles in all those different arenas. By the way, I do want to pause and include school and education in that. Forever, there was this concept that we would sort of put kids on the yellow bus and they would disappear and come back 12 years later and hopefully be intelligent. And that's proven dramatically, fundamentally false as well. So in all of those arenas, what we've done is put trust in arguably the wrong people. That's big pharma, that's Wall Street, and education, you name it. It's these places that have profit center as their motivating factor. And yes, I have exposed that in education. I've exposed it in big pharma, and we continue to expose it in the world of Wall Street. Take the information that we're giving, I've got this, I know the skeletons in the closet, and I'm putting daylight onto the bad things and bad actors in Wall Street. Take that information, use it on your own, use it with other financial advisors, or call Matt and Drew or people like them to get that do it for me option. Those are great. And I hope that many, many people out there put themselves on a better path toward healthier, happier lives. There's another option, and I want to spell this out in a way that hopefully resonates and is meaningful to you. In this whole, I can't call it recent because it's really kind of only recent for me and a lot of other people, but there's been this push toward, I'm just going to call it kind of farm to table, nutritional values for decades. There are a lot of people out there who have been looking at the foods that they eat and where they come from and the nutritional value for decades, with really close scrutiny. And they get to know farmers and they work on kind of getting local produce created the right way that's hopefully not bioengineered, and it has all kinds of nutritional value. I am among the newly interested in that. It's really started about 5 years ago for me. And some are even more current or more recent, I should say, in their interest in nutritional value and the value of the foods that we eat. So what does that have to do with investment? Well, as it turns out, with our private membership association, kind of everything. Because I discovered as I was looking into that arena and all these farms that were doing all kinds of amazing, great things and using organic minerals and ground soil supplements to grow the right kinds of foods. Forgive me if you're a farmer, I may use some of the wrong terminology, but I mean my best as I sort of braille my way into discovery of nutritional value. In that world, there are lots of people who have started and run and are members of private membership associations. They're actually very common there. And private membership associations, as you may know from the website and from prior episodes, they've been around and tested for decades. They've gone all the way up to the Supreme Court and have received favorable rulings, I believe, every time in the context of America and how we choose to conduct ourselves. We have absolutely every right to establish and maintain private membership associations, but they've usually been in the context of foods, farming, and agriculture, and things like them. Now it's time to bring that to the world of finance. Probably the easiest way to put this in the right context and understand the intention, design, and purpose of the private membership association is to think of an investment club. So what is an investment club? They used to be common, and I know they're not gone entirely, but they're less common than they were probably 20 plus years ago. Here's the way that this works, and here's the beauty of it, and it's really getting back to the basics. It's getting back to what we know works. The first thing to understand is that our parents and grandparents and many prior generations built stock portfolios. Stockbrokers did a lot of the research for people to make their lives easier, and then served as sort of that intermediary between buying and building a portfolio of investments and you, the investor. So yes, stockbrokers got a bad name starting in kind of the late 80s and 90s because a lot of it actually was well-earned negative repercussions, but they had commissions connected to the transactions that they would do. And sometimes those commissions were a lot of money, and they would make a lot of money off of the trading that they did. So they would go out and do all this research into the investments that they would recommend to their investors, and then they would make a commission. So you understand that part of it. But please understand that there is a trade-off. Of course, anybody managing and handling your money wants to make money off of it. The trade-off is when we moved from interacting with a stockbroker into going into mutual funds, those mutual funds have ongoing management fees. So that fee might be 0.5% a year, no matter what. So even if they're not doing any active trading or managing or doing things for your account, they're still making money. And that also means that when markets drop, even negative, they're still making money, which drives your account earnings into more negative. There's a trade-off that everyone should really understand, and that is between ongoing consistent management fees and transaction costs. The transaction cost, typically, once you finish the transaction, that's it, you're done. You're not paying additional management fees unless you're paying somebody to supervise your account or something for you. But now the world has changed a lot. What we have now is an environment where there are discount brokerages all over the place, and they're really, really inexpensive to buy, build, manage, and maintain a portfolio. So what I'm encouraging people to do, and what the PMA represents, is kind of a club. It's a membership club where we talk about better investments that are clear, transparent. You know what you own all the time. You're in charge, you're in the driver's seat, and you're most likely eliminating the management fees. So as far as the experience of it, let's compare two different results. In one, let's say you've got an IRA account, or you inherited some money or something, and it's invested in a whole bunch of different investments. And for sort of an understanding of what this typically looks like, refer back to that episode we did on alias Yosemite Sam. In Yosemite Sam's investments, we found a vast array of different mutual funds and kind of a cousin to those called exchange traded funds that ultimately were invested in nearly identical investments across the board. So there was way less diversification than you would think at first, because there were about 38 different mutual funds and exchange traded funds that had been purchased in a whole bunch of different accounts. More importantly, it actually took me as a financial professional a significant amount of work to drill down and figure out what the actual underlying investments truly are. On top of that, add the fact that we figured out that that person and his family in those accounts, Yosemite Sam was paying or is paying about $10,000 per year in management fees. Well, let's do some simple math, the kind of back of the napkin math on that. How many transactions would it take in a transactional account, in other words, where he is paying for the purchase of stocks in order to hit $10,000 in fees? He's not going to do it. He's going to save a tremendous amount of money by switching from management fees to transaction costs. So the transaction costs, he's going to go in, he's going to buy a bunch of stocks, then all of the opaque difficulty of figuring out what's actually owned in the portfolio disappears. So then in the future, every time Yosemite Sam gets a statement in the mail of what he owns in his stock portfolio, he knows at a glance with specificity exactly what he owns. No question. There's no question about it. In the mutual fund based sort of management fee kind of account, not only is it the extra cost of the ongoing management of those funds, but there's also that opaque lack of transparency, because if the mutual fund is buying and selling stuff, it's really difficult for Yosemite Sam or anybody else to figure out what the actual investments are. So we did the research on it. We gave kind of a snapshot view currently, well, quasi currently, within the last 6 months, of most of the holdings that are the predominant holdings in most of those funds. But there's no telling in 5 months or 6 months, it could be shaken up completely and completely different. The findings were bad on all those levels. The cost, the transparency, and the massive amount of overlap in being invested in the same things that were wokeadoodle, far left companies, causes, and countries in all of those different investments, or many of them were virtually identical at their surface. Enter the stock portfolio. This isn't for everybody. And remember, at the beginning of this episode, I was talking about some of the options that allow people to get in the hands of somebody where they can act as a financial planner and they will do all the work for you. If that's your mission and that's what you're most comfortable with, hoorah, I don't blame you. Life is busy. But if you're the type that's interested for some or all of your portfolio in personally working with a team to build a portfolio, that's the Private Membership Association. That's a team of fellow members, including me. I'm spearheading this initiative. Think of me as kind of the club captain in the Private Membership Association. I'm doing tremendous amounts of research. I'm maintaining a spreadsheet and a lot of conversation and financial and fiduciary due diligence on those investment options. And then I'm sharing that, not only with the people in the Private Membership Association, with anybody who wants to ask for it. Anybody who wants it, you have my absolute promise, personal and professional. There are no strings attached. Unfortunately, my lawyers don't allow me to just simply put it up on the webpage and publish it, or I would have anybody under the sun pull it down and run with it and do whatever you want. It comes with the disclaimer, understandably, that it is caveat emptor. It means simply, if you grab that list and run with it, whatever results, you're responsible. But that's common sense. That's just like in nutrition saying, we believe in these certain fruits, vegetables, sources of meat, etc., and we'll publish our reports on it. If you experience something different or don't use it the same way, maybe you're not as healthy. But it is common sense that pretty much most people who are doing that sort of work, that are taking that initiative, that are gravitating toward the healthier choices in life, are probably going to experience healthier outcomes. The Private Membership Association, for those of us in the financial PMA, is designed and modeled after the people who are pursuing healthier lifestyle in all other aspects and any other aspects, relative to the doctor they choose to work with, or where they send their kids to school, or where they go to college, what foods they eat, what sort of pharmaceutical things that they introduce into their bodies, and which the ones they reject. That is the model behind the Private Membership Association. Where we come in, and this is the design of the Private Membership Association, I gave a lot of thought to the price point. So for us to run it and stay afloat and continue to provide episodes like this, to continue to fund the research and reporting, to manage the time, and to work with the people who join the Private Membership Association, I set the membership fee as low as humanly possible. So let's put that in context. So for Yosemite Sam is paying right now about $10,000 a year in fees. If Yosemite Sam chooses to join the Private Membership Association, that is a flat fee of $1,000. Our group does not make any more revenue on anything. There are no commissions or hidden back office deals. There are no what are called 12B1 fees or revenue sharing. There are no finder's fees, override fees. I'm telling you, the world of finance is murky, and there are all kinds of ways for financial professionals to make lots of different money. The PMA, by contract and by design, is meant to be very different. And we in the PMA accept nothing, not a dime, beyond the $1,000 membership fee. That gets you access to all the info, the conversations, the chats about the different companies that we are recommending, the feedback, hand-holding. We view accounts and do some trades in tandem to get people trained up and comfortable with building their own portfolio. And here's the cool thing. The PMA doesn't care where your money is. So unlike financial firms that have every intention of getting your money in, then sort of data mining you and pooling all your money together and doing maybe some nefarious things with it, the PMA and I am encouraging you to be wherever you're most comfortable. If you can gain access to a trading account, we want to help you trade and build a meaningful stock portfolio of companies that are not woke, that we're researching, we're discussing with you on an ongoing basis. That's the design and intention of the PMA. We've got some people that have joined. We've got some great success stories. We've got one person who has absolutely no background and experience in stock trading and building a portfolio. This person is actually really excited about it. The feedback I'm getting is pretty awesome. And there is kind of a cool sense of accomplishment in venturing back into that. And I say back into it because that's the way our society used to work. It's what worked, it's what wasn't broken, and it's what we're going back to. Go back to when all things fail. That's an adage as well. When things fail, go back to what we know worked. That's what we're doing with these stock portfolios. I hope you will consider whichever path is right for you. Please do not continue to just hand your money over to Wokadoodle, Wall Street, or these globalist banks and hope for the best, because overwhelmingly, it's probably not going to look good for you in the future. Get into the hands of somebody who is a good coach, financial planner, advisor, not woke, who is going to either manage your money effectively for you and meet your value system. That means your personal financial planner or Matt and Drew or somebody like them, or come join the private membership association. We'd love to have you. The more people, the merrier. We're going to be talking about all kinds of really cool stuff in our conversations, analyzing these firms, and I'm training everybody who will listen on how to build your own stock portfolio. More on that discussion in a future podcast. I actually have some friends that I worked with years ago who were some of the best stockbrokers back in the heyday. Let's bring that back. That's the purpose and intent of the Private Membership Association. I'm Jonathan Broadbent. This has been another episode of UnWoke.Academy. Thanks for listening.